The Asus Zenbook 14X OLED is a mighty work machine with a ScreenPad-sized problem. I've just spent a week with the Asus Zenbook 14X OLED laptop, and I have to say, good things do come in small packages. But it wasn't all love for this small and mighty machine, which sucks, because I had a lot of love to give it. I have to assume the conversation at Asus when making this laptop went something like, "Let's try reinvent the wheel by making it rounder." What do I mean by that? The trackpad, sorry, ScreenPad, sounds great on paper, but in execution it kinda sucks. One seemingly small thing has ruined the brilliance that exists everywhere else. But it does have one redeeming feature. The Asus Zenbook 14X OLED. The Zenbook 14X OLED is touted by Asus as the world's first 14-inch 4K OLED HDR display. The screen is brilliant, the colors are perfect, vivid, truly unrivaled. The laptop is slim, light and compact, and I am now sold on the need for a laptop to have a touchscreen. It's powered by the latest 11th Gen Intel Core i7 processor, and it can handle load so well. But, the elephant in the room. I hate the ScreenPad. I need to get this out of the way first. The ScreenPad on the Zenbook 14X OLED is an interactive secondary touchscreen that Asus reckons enhances productivity, allowing for more efficient workflow. It includes a collection of Asus utilities to boost this productivity. What it really is a quick launch space for certain apps. Out of the box it has a number key app, handwriting input app, calculator, Spotify and films and TV, to name a few. Selecting most of these sees a window pop up on the laptop. With the exception of the handwriting app, none of these are worth launching from the ScreenPad. I can find them easy enough on the desktop or via the Start menu, and I'd in fact argue this feature is a hindrance to my productivity. Windows is already optimized for shortcuts, anyway. Swapping out of app mode is relatively easy, however it doesn't remove the apps from view, rather places a sort of transparent box over the top of them to allow you to use the ScreenPad as a trackpad. And when you leave the device, you have to re-enable it. I want a trackpad as standard and a ScreenPad as secondary, even a quaternary, quinary, hexenary feature. Using the ScreenPad as a trackpad is a little sticky, but it's otherwise quite responsive. By sticky I don't mean it gets stuck, more like it feels genuinely sticky. Sticker residue like sticky. No, there's no residue, but it is a second screen and you can feel this. The only way I can describe it is that it feels I'm resting my unlocked phone below the keyboard, and I'm constantly thinking the illumination is a message. It feels like I'm swiping around on my phone when I'm using the ScreenPad, but from a weird top angle, and it makes my fingers feel sweaty. It's just very uncomfortable underneath my fingers. And I have to use the ScreenPad to select something, otherwise I'm pressing the mouse buttons with enough force to poke a hole in a wall. However, you can make the ScreenPad a secondary screen. Yep. I watched a crab rave on it. With the Zenbook 14X OLED, Asus is trying to make the consumer range like the gaming range. Either way, I'm going to watch some crabs dance. I'm not too sure what else I could put here, as it's far too small for me to read anything on it comfortably. Okay, I've hyperfixated enough on the ScreenPad. Let's move on to the keyboard. I love the keyboard. I love it. It's so big and spaced out, surprising considering the Zenbook 14X OLED is only 14 inches. My issue with using Apple's iPad Magic Keyboard is that it just isn't big enough, that my fingers are too squished together while typing. While the Asus Zenbook 14X OLED isn't a rival to the iPad, I can't help but think the fact it's so compact and has a touchscreen, while still being a Windows machine, leans into a Chromebook, a tablet, a two-in-one competitor, too. The only issues I ran into using the keyboard were as a result of using nothing but a MacBook for the last 4 months. Since I hesitantly packed away the Dell XPS 1595-10 laptop, The only machine I have used is a Mac, and getting re-familiar with the concept of a right-click and how to navigate a Windows OS in general is all I've had to deal with. And that's all on me. Being forced to use Edge in the first instance, however, that's on Microsoft. I also love the touchscreen. This is a gimmick I can get behind. It just adds a bit of fun to the Zenbook 14X OLED. The screen is responsive, and this feature works really well, especially performing simple tasks like pausing or playing YouTube, launching Chrome, closing a window. Although, I used this more than I thought I would, purely because the trackpad would return to app mode, and I honestly CBF selecting trackpad mode. While I love the fact it's a touchscreen, I also feel terrible putting my grubby fingers on the screen. Adding to this is the angle you have to swipe on. It isn't great for fake nails. I'm going to scratch the crap out of this thing. And this thing is very pretty. Asus has made a very, very pretty laptop in the Zenbook 14X OLED. The shell is a perfect color, made from a perfect material. The keyboard, as I mentioned above, is also perfect. But the hinge is where this thing stands out among its peers. Look how far this thing goes back. If it didn't feel like the Zenbook 14X OLED was going to break holding it so far open, it would be a great new way to laptop. Although, the Asus Folding Boy does this. It also must be said the very Asus curves this thing boasts are reminiscent of its latest ROG phone. It's a very Asus laptop, and that's fine. They make nice looking stuff. The Zenbook 14X OLED's guts. As I mentioned above, the Zenbook 14X OLED packs an 11th Gen Intel Core i7 processor, but it also boasts NVIDIA GeForce MX 450 discrete graphics, up to 1TB M.2 NVMe PCIe SSD. There's a ton of ports: 1x USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A, 2x Thunderbolt 4, 1x HDMI 2.0, audio, and a micro SD card reader. What about power? I tested the processor in Cinebench. In the single-core test, the laptop scored 1,098 points and 6th position, whereas in the multi-core test, the laptop scored 4,002 points and 10th position. That's really great, indicating that this laptop could handle some strenuous, multi-application tasks. Speaking of strenuous, the Chrome tab test was a bit of fun. It was only once I had 45 YouTube tabs and 22 Gizmodo articles open that the lag was noticeable. I didn't realize a lag before that, given it was hard to determine if the Zenbook 14X OLED was under pressure or if the ScreenPad was just being useless. I also benchmarked Forza Horizon 5, results below. The display is perfect. The Surface performed better for graphics-intensive applications than the Zenbook 14X OLED, but it looked better. While it's not as powerful as some of its peers when it comes to gameplay, the Zenbook 14X OLED truly shines in game mode, picture-wise. The 90Hz OLED display showcases the brilliance of HDR, and the crisp, bright OLED screen really brings something like Forza to life. Asus touts the display as boasting cinema-grade 100% DCI P3 color gamut, and I can't pull them up on this. I wish my camera could do its ultra-vivid, ultra-accurate colors justice. OLED technology gives you true blacks for enhanced realism. And the 4K is just utterly gorgeous. Verdict: the Asus Zenbook 14X OLED has a perfect display, rivaled only by my iPhone 13 Pro Maximum. It has a brilliant battery life, with the power behind it to still tackle heavy workloads solely on battery. The laptop looks great. 14 inches is a perfect size for daily work or leisure. The weight is helpful for lugging it to the office every day, and the touchscreen adds an extra win to the long list. At a little over $2,000, it performs how you'd want it to. Hindering the Zenbook 14X OLED is purely its ScreenPad. If you want to watch crabs raving all day, then it's fine. But this laptop could definitely do without it. Where to buy the Asus Zenbook 14X OLED? The machine I reviewed has an RRP of $2,299, and you get it via ASUS.